and welcome to Civic Punks from Uzbekistan, and now from Registan Square, which is absolutely gorgeous. And I'm here with Caroline Starr. Caroline was at the UN Public Service Forum with me. And Caroline, what were some of your key takeaways from this week?
Well, I think one of the things that I've enjoyed most about the week is actually just meeting people from lots of different countries and having a lot of conversations about what are some of the different reforms going on. School of International Futures, we've done research which shows you need reform across 3 areas. Citizens engaged in shaping their future, organisations prepared for the future, and leaders being incentivised to make intergenerationally fair decisions. And I've actually been blown away by some of the examples that we've heard. I think particularly around different ways of engaging citizens. I've heard some really inspiring examples about how this doesn't have to be, really expensive or complicated. It is possible if you're creative and you decide that it's a priority.
And I actually got to go to the workshop that you led with Robyn from the Career Bureaucracy Festival. And it was really fun because I was in a small group with a young guy from Uzbekistan and a woman who was from Mongolia. And it was really interesting seeing the similarities and differences across cultures as we discussed the different. You got us to do this triangle exercise.
Yeah.
Where basically we were talking, we had to look at, the investment in history from the perspective of citizens, from the perspective of public servants, and then from the perspective of leaders. And what we did in our group, actually you probably didn't know this because I don't think you jumped into our group, but we actually ranked each one out of 10.
Oh great, yeah.
And
that's always useful.
And just had an interesting reflection. And it was, what I found fascinating is I ranked leaders the lowest in my triangle, and I was doing Canada, whereas the other 2 groups, they ranked the leaders much higher, which I thought was quite fascinating. But it kind of shows also in a lot of those countries, leadership plays a much more central role in driving society compared to Canada. So yeah, so thank you for that opportunity.
Oh no, that's great. And actually, we say when we're working with countries, one of your first steps is actually to map what's going on at the moment against those 3 different areas of the prism. That's what really helps you to identify where are the gaps, what's your plan for implementation. But what I also thought was great about that workshop, even without prompting, I think we had a minister there from Uzbekistan who straight away was saying, actually, it's all interconnected. You have to think about this as a whole system and not just do things in isolation across the different areas of the prism. So that was brilliant, and I think a big takeaway from the workshop.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. We'll see you in Georgia next year, I guess.
Hopefully so. Oh, and one thing I wanted to add actually is I think probably my biggest moment of inspiration in the events was the closing speech that was delivered by Robyn Bennett, who's an advisor at Creative Bureaucracy Festival. It was an absolute call to action to all the leaders who assembled there and the UN that we really need to think about how to transfer power to the next generation. And she really challenged everybody to think about, how can that be done? How can you invite next generations into, the rooms, the spaces where decisions are being made, strategies are being made, budgets are being decided. So, and I could see how kind of passionately she got that across and how much it resonated with leaders. So that was a brilliant way to close the whole event, I thought.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the high points for me as well. And I mean, she challenged everybody practically to bring young people in, and not just as like a mentoring role, but actually to give them power and influence in shaping budget control and stuff like that. It was really interesting. So I'm hoping that a lot of people took that seriously and will action that.
Definitely. I'm looking forward to seeing how it plays out in future UN events.
Me too. Thanks so much.